everyone. My name is David Finklea, and I'm with Let's Talk Theology. I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out to participate in the dialogue, in the discussions, and in the videos that we're posting. This is actually the first of its kind. We were originally posting sound bites or audio files onto SoundCloud, which are still available, but we've decided to actually try something a little different, try to do a little video presentation along with the different discussions that we will be talking about. So we're going to try it and see how it goes. I'm not saying that it's going to be the best, but again, the only point of these videos is to cultivate the need and actually get out there and forward the need for biblical discussion and theological studies. So we're going to use this platform to actually use diagrams, presentations, different instruments and tools through video to kind of get the message across that we're trying to present in our different studies. So we hope you enjoy it. We thank you again for joining, and hope it's very helpful to you in your studies. Now we're going to get right into something that is very important. We left off maybe it's about a month ago, where we started this study or started doing the audio files on this study. We've actually been studying this subject for a while now, which is the study on the revival. We're calling it the Revival Series, and we're drawing from a book written by Dr. Elmer Towns. If anybody's familiar with him, Liberty University. I am a graduate of Liberty University, and I plan to forward my studies with that institution in the future as well. So big ups to Dr. Towns and his work in this particular book, along with Dr. Douglas, or with Douglas Porter. Not sure if he's a doctor. I'm sure he probably is, but it doesn't signify that in this particular book. So Elmer Towns and Douglas Porter, they wrote a book called The 10 Greatest Revivals from Pentecost to the Present. And what they did is they outlined the most significant revivals that have ever taken place, in their opinion, throughout the history of Christianity. So we're using this book as a platform. We're not actually drawing directly from the book, but we are using it as a template to kind of catalog the different revivals that we feel have been very influential. And of course, we will use these major revivals, and occasionally we'll go back to some of the more prominent people or prominent events that happen within these time frames. So if you want to purchase the book, it's a very good book. Again, it's 10 Greatest Revivals Ever, Dr. Elmer Towns and Dr. Douglas Porter. It's very good in giving an unbiased opinion of the different events and occasions that went on throughout these major revivals. So, as promised, our goal and our anticipation, or our goal and our desire, is to actually outline and discuss each one of these revivals individually, specifically, try to go in as much detail as possible to understand exactly how these different revivals shaped and influenced Christianity. Okay, and with much debate within myself, we decided to kind of try to go in chronological order as much as possible. And the reason we're doing it that way is because we want to be able to see how these different revivals, independently or dependently based on the prior or previous events, how they kind of influence Christianity, the train of thought, the way we think about things, the dogmas, the traditions. It's very important to kind of look at the revivals, because if you look at the revivals, you'll be able to tell exactly why we do some of the things we do, where we picked up some of our trainings of thoughts, where we got the different mentalities and different things about our practices and our different devotions. So it's very important to look at these revivals in order, so that you can kind of pick up exactly why we do the things we do and where we got them from. So we're going to begin with what the book outlines and considers the Pre-Reformation Revival, which was from the 1300s to the 1500s. We all are pretty much familiar with the Reformation, but we want to look at a few things that happened in the Pre-Reformation Revival. And if we can kind of get a good understanding of what was going on there, then we'll be able to understand the revival all the more clear. Now, the thing about the Pre-Reformation Revival is that it was a direct response to the corruption and to some of the issues that were going on in the Roman Catholic Church. I'm reading this book, or have been reading this book called The Bad Popes by E.R. Chamberlain. All right, you can look at that. E.R. Chamberlain, The Bad Popes. He does a very good job telling us what these bad popes did up to the Reformation. He kind of outlines some of the errors, some of the false teachings, some of the corrupt political and carnal moves that they made in order to secure the Roman Catholic Church and secure their own motives and the things that they were looking to do throughout the world. Over the years, these things became a great burden to a lot of the sincere Christians all over the world. What we're going to find in the Pre-Reformation Revival is that the mentality and the thought was to get back as close as possible to what the Bible was actually saying. And if I could say here, to interject this a few moments, for just a brief minute, we're kind of in that same position today. We have been tainted as Christians with so much secularity, so much humanism. We've been very corrupt in our approach to religious matters, and it's very apparent because we have certain things going on within Christianity that would have never been tolerated or even thought of within the early church. So the desire within the Pre-Reformation Revival began to be, let's try to get as close as possible to the beliefs, the tenets, the lifestyles, the character of the first century church. And you had many people who aided in that desire. They aided that drive and that impulse to get as close as possible to the church that Jesus Christ would be proud of and the church that he said he would essentially build. So we have a thing that we want to look at, particularly in this video, and we'll come back. This is going to be a multi-part video, but I want to look at something particularly in the Pre-Reformation Revival and what they were up against. Okay, one of the things that I found was a huge problem, and it is a problem even to this day, is the rapid growth of Christianity. The rapid yet unguided and misguided growth of Christianity. When we say that, we're talking about an age-long problem where quantity became more of a fundamental element of Christianity than quality, and they were more concerned about getting more people and getting more power and getting more resources and getting as much as they can in order to grow Christianity. And whenever you grow at such rapid speeds, you now have to fight with growth and stability. You have to find a way to retain and maintain retention within your fast growth. It's kind of like a company. Whenever a company begins to get larger and larger and they begin to grow at rapid speeds, they face now more problems. And that's kind of how the direction the church was going in, where they were growing so fast and they were becoming so large that they were beginning to mishandle their growth. But even beyond all of that, one of the greater problems was the diversity that was present within Christianity. Unlike many religions, unlike many religious groups, Christianity is one of the most diverse in its invitation. And if you look at the first century church and you look at the invitation that the gospel of the kingdom of God actually brings, the gospel does not require you to be of any particular ethnicity, any particular color. It doesn't require that you be in any particular political group. It doesn't require that you do anything special. It only requires that you believe. And one of Paul's greatest gifts was being able to preach this gospel to anybody of any background, in any place. It didn't matter to him. He had this unique gift where he can spread this gospel anywhere in the world. And we have tried to do that today, and we have failed miserably because we have not learned the essentialities that the Bible gives us and the fundamentals that the Bible gives us in order to take this gospel anywhere and actually spread it properly so that it will not be misrepresented, diluted, or even corrupted by the different affairs of the world. So this is what the Pre-Reformation Revival sought to do. In its growing and in its magnificent presence in all the earth, it sought to get the world back or get the church rather, back to the fundamentals of Christianity present in the Bible. And that's what we're trying to do even today.